Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the first of 5 Open Insight sessions, 1 year with Iris Monitor. Today's theme is a year in review and OpenOrgs sprint. We are excited to have Ioanna Gripari, Project Manager of Iris Monitor, who will present a review of Year 1 milestones and achievements and an introductory Monitor Essentials demo for new users. We also have Leonidas Pispiringas and Harry Dimitropoulos, Technical Managers of Iris Monitor. Leonidas will present a short demo and interactive session on OpenOrgs deduplication for RPOs, and this will be followed by a Q&A session and your input. We kindly ask you to keep your microphones muted and cameras off during the presentation, and for the Q&A, please feel free to unmute and turn on your camera to participate. You can also submit your questions or comments here in the chat. And finally, please note that the session is being recorded and transcribed. If you'd like to join the Q&A but prefer not to be included in the recording, let us know in the chat and we will opt out your participation. Ioanna and Leonida, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marily. We would first like to pass the floor to Aaron Binci, which is the project manager from the Iris Research e-library, to say a couple of words.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending this webinar at this very busy time of the year. This is a good opportunity to acknowledge the great work that's been put into the monitor over the last year or so. I'd particularly like to thank OpenAir for their tireless work and dedication to this project and fulfilling their brief and giving us a live and functioning monitor during the course of the year. Obviously, we look forward to continuing that work with them. It's great news that the project has been extended into 2025. And I'd also like to thank the advisory board for their invaluable assistance over the year. And of course, the dashboard members and all of you for your valuable contribution to the monitor. So with that, I'll hand you back to OpenAir.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. Please let me know if you cannot see anything or if the slides are not changing. There's a test. Okay, so as Marily said, Leonidas and I are presenting today, but Harry Dimitropoulos is with us, who, if you know, is the founder guy of OpenAir. So if you have any questions, please ask. This session is open to everyone, so there could be attendees from other countries that are seeking to be inspired from the Irish use case. So please do let us know in the chat if you're one of them. And as Marily said, please use it for any questions. For the second session, the OpenOrgs session, in order to do the live deduplication, which will be a 10-minute super hands-on thing, you need to be a primary dashboard manager of your funding or research organization. So if you are not, or if you don't know if you are, please write it in the chat. And then Leonidas and Harry are going to see what we do with that. At this point, we cannot add people on the fly. So we will see when we reach that point how many are here for the live deduplication and how we're going to do it exactly. So the Open Insights sessions are the 5 webinars that you probably saw because you subscribed to this one, so it came from somewhere, not from the air. And they're going to be organized in the following way. The first half an hour, it's going to be a mini webinar where we try to tell you something perhaps that you don't know about the Irish Monitor. And then the second half an hour, it's a hands-on thing with hands-on session with you, the audience, where depending on which one of these 5 it is, we do a different thing. So I have the link here, and we're going to post the presentation both on Zenodo and on the Irish Monitor website under engagement and training, and you'll be able to see more details. Please feel free to register from now, and so that we know and are happy that you will be joining us. So what did we do in the last year? We made this. And now I will finish my talk. So this is the Irish Monitor. As most of you know, this is the address where you can find it. And I'm going to give you a little tour later today to see how North and Irel thought about it and how we implemented those thoughts. So this all started in July 2023, where OpenAir was awarded the contract to develop the monitor. It is managed, as I said, by the Irish Research E-Library and funded by NORF, National Open Research Forum of Ireland, through the Open Research Fund call. And there are several other projects being funded through there. You can take a look at their website. Then from September to November, while we were developing the monitor, we also had the first webinar series, which you can find on our website, introducing the users to what was going to come and training funders and research performing organizations, I'm just going to say RFOs and RPOs from now on how to guarantee that the data quality is high of what they will see at the monitor. In March, we launched it, and it was accompanied by the report, which was an official part of the project. The report gave a baseline of where Ireland was at the launch of the monitor in terms of open access, and several indicators were used there. And what were the lessons learned from this analysis, this baseline analysis, and some recommendations on how everyone can take actions depending on the type of user that they were. Now, from March to May, we had our second webinar series where there was more advanced training on the functionalities, data quality, and open APCs, which is the data from OpenAPC is shown in the monitor, both for transformative agreements and article processing charges. In November, like last month, we renewed a collaboration with for the project, which we were extremely happy about, and it's going to continue until April of next year. So just a few months left. And our focus here is to fully embed the monitor, or as much as possible, into Ireland's research community. This means that we want to hear from you, and we're available here to talk about data quality, things missing, things you like, things you don't like. We would really like to continue this, let's say, preliminary success story into full-on success story. Please don't quote me on this. And for this, we have the third webinar series, which I talked about before, which is what's going on now. And of course, we're available through support. Okay, so what was the goal behind the monitor? To provide transparent and comprehensive insight into the state of open access in Ireland and build a platform that can serve as a crucial tool for analyzing trends, identifying weak spots, guiding policy, and so on. And basically putting everyone together. And I think one of the things that was in mind from Irel's and North side, and this is my interpretation, of course, is that we're going to create monitors for every single researcher organization and institutional repository. And this way, we can all see the state of open access and of metadata availability and data quality that is out there. Therefore, so we can continue and fix it together. So there are 5 dashboards in the monitor. What I will do in the demo is I'm going to go through the national dashboard, and I will quickly talk about the other ones, how you can find them, and the functionalities that are available. But since it's meant to be a two-session webinar. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but if someone would like to see the webinar again, we will upload it, or if they want a more in-depth look or a presentation or training internally, we're happy to do that as well. So how did we build it? Our basic principles were that first of all, it has to satisfy the open science principle. So it has to be open and transparent. So all our processes are documented on the monitor. The code is uploaded in Zenode or maybe somewhere else. I'm not sure about the code, but we have it there. And we did our best to make sure that it's timely, it's comprehensive, and that we talk to you often enough so everyone is included. The backbone, the data behind the monitor, comes from the OpenOrgs graph. In case you don't know, this is a scientific knowledge graph that has about 290 million research outputs behind it. It updates monthly, and it goes through a long process of cleaning and so on. So on the left, what do we have? We have the different types of data sources that are aggregated. There are about 100,000. These are aggregated, they're enriched by mining, they're deduplicated, so each record is summarized in one record with all the instances inside the record. So if we find one publication in several places, it's still one publication, and the instances from all the places and all the metadata and so on is preserved. Then there is more enrichment by inference, and then we finalize, clean, and so on. This creates the Graph API, which was recently renewed, and I think it's going to be renewed soon again. And then we base this on we call the API basically to create the data that supports the monitor. And then the monitor has several functionalities that actually they're automated, and they provide user feedback that is then going back to the aggregation. So when you fix something in the Irish monitor, it goes back to the OpenOrgs graph. Okay, and we will talk about this when we do the demo. There is also a beta environment that is available for all RPO and RFO managers, just so they can see new functionalities, new indicators, data quality, and so on. And after it is validated, then these things are moved to production. Let me move to the demo. Okay. Right. Okay, so this is the home page here of the monitor. And as you see at the top, we have the different monitors: national, RPO, RFO, researcher, repository. And here we have resources and help. Resources and help, let me start with that. It has the about page that describes basically what I told you now, and the 5 monitors. Now, when you go to the 5 monitors, we have play-by-play of what you should do if you're an RPO, an RFO, a researcher, or a repository. So depending on who you are, you can go and see what are the steps that are taken in order to see your dashboard and so on. Okay. Then there's the user actions that I will briefly go through afterwards that are described here. And then we have the methodological approach, the terminology and construction, and some some resources under help. Engagement and training, if you go here, you will see all the webinars we have done so far, including participating in the NASA conference. How cool is that? And then if you click this button help here, which you can find anywhere in the monitor, you can go and see how the interactivity functions work in the various graphs. You can play a video so that you know how to use the interaction. And then there is terminology and construction. So it's the same one that's up here, but you can link through it here directly so that you know that every variable that you look at, how it was calculated, and so on. This is split between entities of the OpenOrgs graph. inherited and inferred attributes such as access rights, licenses, processing charges, publishing information, and so on, and constructed attributes that are basically indicators that we built. So the journal's business models, and then the routes to open access for publications, and so on and so forth. So if you're like, you're analyzing peer-reviewed publications, but how did you figure out what is peer-reviewed? You can come here and see, and then if you don't like it, you can click on help and go to give us your feedback and then yell at us, or you can yell at us by going to support here. Okay, you can see the frequently answered questions, or click contact us to fill out this form. Okay, let's go to the monitor. All the monitors are split into two sections. There is a monitor section where you see a set of indicators grouped in different tabs with filtering on the side. Okay, you can select the filters multiple at the same time if you want. Let's say last 10 years, publicly funded, yes. And you see, as I'm clicking on this, things are recalculating because this is linked to OpenOrgs live, right? So let me clear the filters for now and close this. And then you have the browse research products, where you can see every single publication that was used when creating the indicators. So I will go into the details of this page in a little bit. Let's go to the monitor first. So here we have agreed on the types of indicators to show here together with the advisory group. And it was also based on the stakeholder surveys that organizations were asked to fill out a long time ago. But if you see something that is missing or that you would like portrayed elsewhere, please let us know. Also, as you have seen so far, I haven't logged in anything, so this is all publicly available. As I said, the idea here was like, make everything public and let's see what we can do better. So we have, here we have scholarly production, historical snapshots, access rights, open access routes, fair indicators, Plan S indicators, EPC indicators, cross-country for benchmarking, and some stuff we've been working on for academic impact. Now, you can see via the help button the different interactivity options, but let me just briefly say that if you click on these three bars, you can view this in full screen, you can print the chart, you can download the image, you can also download the data behind the chart or view the data table. And by this button here, if you click on it, you get the iframe code, which allows you to embed it in your own website so that you can advertise a visualization that you particularly like. And this, even after you embed it, will link to the Irish database live. So when we update the database, the graph will be updated as well. So there are also, here we have, for example, publication trends for publications, peer-reviewed publications, and open access peer-reviewed publications with a license. So in the project, it was decided that we have to follow the Budapest definition for open access, which includes products having a license. That's why also here, when we saw the share of open access, it's with license as well. If you go, for example, here in the tab called Access Rights, we wait for it for a second because it's accessing the database. Here you will see that it is actually both, we have included both with and without license. Here, so we have open access with license, the dark blue, and open access without license, the light blue. Okay, so we do measure all of it, but officially for reporting, open access with license is considered truly open access. So going back to scholarly production, There are some graphs that you see buttons here that you can, here for example, we have peer-reviewed publications by fields of science level 1. And if you click here, go terminology and construction, you can see how the fields of science are constructed. We use our field of science classifier for that. If you click field of science 2, you can see if you go one level further inside. Here we have classification by SDGs. And here again, you have the functionality that by clicking on these tabs, you see a different type of visualization, and the titles and subtitles and so on are changed as well. If you go to historical snapshots, what you observe is what has happened in the last year, basically. So what you observe here, the jump from April to May, is an additional effort that we made from OpenAir in order to have the biggest, the most comprehensive and correct set of Irish peer-reviewed publications. Therefore, there is a jump here, and we were very happy with that. And another thing that you can see here is how over time things have evolved. For example, if you go here, this is a graph that is showing repository open access, so green with a license, but only in a repository and publisher open access, and publisher open access only, so gold on hybrid that we know there's a license. So what you see from 2020, so from October to November, is that overall, the ones that are published in open access, whether you can also find them in a repository or not, have increased. Now, of course, when there's an improvement in the graph, it's not possible to say whether this jump is because we improved on the graph or because there is a lot more people are publishing in open access and using a repository. But in general, the trends that are found over time, these are clearly because of scholarly norms, let's say, patterns changing. Let me also take you through Plan S very briefly. So here we have a bunch of indicators that are showing publications since 2021, where Plan S was set up, that are published in journals that are compliant with Plan S. There's other ways to comply to Plan S. We're looking at where they were published. So this means in diamond journals, under transformative agreements, in transformative journals, and gold with APCs. Now, actually, for this delay, it's the fault of my network because these pages are cached already, so there should be no delay. So you can see here how, let's go further down. Let's see. So these are the peer-reviewed publication published in Plan S compliant journals. So you can, for example, you can deselect the series and look at just the diamond open access journals. And then you see that most of them are for clinic and medicine. However, it's only 27 publications, but still. You can also see under transformative agreements, which were the disciplines that, let's say, benefited the most. And then if you select everything again, you can go by percentage. And then see this graph as percentage shares, which gives a more clear picture. Okay. Now, very briefly to say, please play around, that if you go to browse research products, as we said, you see all the publications behind the graph that we just saw. You can also see other things that we have that are Irish and are in the OpenAir graph, by clicking on research data, software, and other research products. Now, there are different filters here, like document type, whether something is peer-reviewed, the access right, if it has a license, the access routes, if it has been deposited in a repository, so it's green open access, or has publisher open access, or is in a diamond journal. This is the right way to put them because they can overlap and so on, but you can see at the terminology and construction. If you need more details, I had to read it a million times. We have fields of science where you can view them all and then write something, the field that you're looking for, and see whether they're publicly funded, the country of the co-author, of the co-authors of a publication, the funder, their sources, and so on. And then if you click, sorry, here you can sort by different aspects, or you can download the first 2000 results, or click on this to go to the data dumps that are monthly updated in Zenodo. Now, if you click on a publication, let's go here, you go to the landing page of the publication, and where you can see some summary information for that publication that are all also explained in the help. Okay. Now, as you see, there are some options here. So first of all, if you do the drop down, if you click on the drop down here, you see that this publication was found in the following data sources. Okay. You can see all 4 versions that were found, and then you can link to these publications. What does this mean? Let's click on this. Now, in order to do that, I have to sign in, and actually I won't be able to do it because I'm not a manager. But what you would be able to do is you'll be able to link a research product with a project, a community, or other research products. And there's another functionality that we're going to test and push to production at the beginning of next year, which will allow you to link a publication to your organization. So if something should be there and it's not, it can be added. Now, if we go to the other user actions that are available here, you can see that you can add research products to your ORCID record. I'm going to take you through that in a second. Linking, which we just went through. Upload DOIs, which means that if you have a list of DOIs, you can upload them, and then we will export all the information that we have in the OpenOrgs graph and the Irish monitor for that. So the title, the access mode, the access route, whether we have something or not, and so on. And this allows you to verify if a list of DOIs is included and so on. There's OAI PMH if needed, and there's some more information for the dashboard managers that you can find here. Now, in order to access these options, you have to sign in. So let me move this. Okay. So I sign in by clicking here. And because I want to show you the what I can do with ORCID, I click on choose another account, and then I sign in with ORCID. This is ORCID, I think. And then I sign in with Google, which what I have signed in ORCID in. I have already given permission for OpenAir to link my record with ORCID. So if you are a researcher, you sign in with ORCID, and then you go and see here my ORCID links. So these are all the publications. Here we saw the entire record, not just the Irish one. Clearly, I'm not related to Ireland, but we have the entire record, so that if an Irish researcher goes and logs in, they'll be able to see the entire record. So you can remove a record, you can update it, and any changes that you make here are going to be added to your ORCID record as well in the next graph update and the next ORCID update. And you can also discover more research products related to you. So add something to your ORCID. if you think something is missing, I'll say, for example, what can be missing? I don't know. Something about COVID. Okay, so this one is found here, and I can add it. I can add it to my record and so on. So I don't want to go to more detail on this because click here, click there. So I think I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to take 2-3 minutes from Leonida's time to see if there are any questions at this point. I see that there's a question on the chat. Okay, I can see, thank you first of all, I can see how improving our data locally would have a direct and positive effect on the visualizations, especially in terms of Q&A. I wonder if you could describe the data flow from institutional repositories into the OpenAir graph. Is it via direct OAI PMH harvest by OpenAir or other means, Bayes and so on? Leonidas, would you like to answer this, please?
Yes, of course. Thank you. It's a very good question and a very good opportunity to also initiate this issue. The workflow is by direct harvesting from the institutional repositories. And due to an initiative, the repositories initiative in Ireland that has been launched the previous week, Ireland is trying to upgrade the software platforms of the institutional repositories and also to comply with the latest version of the OpenAir guidelines, version 4, which will be very good for a very big improvement on the data quality that we are harvesting from the repository, because currently most of the repositories are on the basic and the driver guidelines. We have a campaign. That's because I've seen the question, the base database from Bielefeld. We have a campaign that is running now for the repositories that won't be upgraded to version 3 or version 4 of the OpenAir guidelines. We're going to aggregate them from base in some point in the near future, but this is not the case for the Irish repositories, apart from the fact that they will be upgraded to the latest OpenAir guidelines.
Sorry, let me interrupt for a second. So I am a university. I have no idea what the OpenAir guidelines are. Probably others know. So how do I go about it? What is step by step? The answer, if it's in base, it will be harvested, yes or no? There are several aggregators that are aggregated, right?
They are directly harvested from the OAI PMH protocol, the Irish the repositories from Ireland.
And in general?
What do you mean in general?
You keep saying the Irish repositories, but maybe someone has a more general question.
In general, we have a campaign that is running right now for the repositories that will not upgrade their compatibility to the latest version of the OpenAir guidelines to version 3 or version 4. We will stop aggregate them from we will stop directly aggregate them from the OAI PMH endpoint, and we will aggregate the metadata records from the base database engine, which has the metadata for most of the, if not all, the European repositories.
Okay, perfect. Are there any more questions? Okay. Oh yes, Sinead?
Hi, thanks. Just to follow on from what we were just talking about, I suppose my question is the metadata from the repositories prioritized over, say, metadata from Crossref or from journals or something like that. The reason I ask is because I have experience of, say, a conference paper being put in as a journal article, and say like that we would change that in our repository, but on the actual publication it's in as a journal article. So I'm just wondering where is the priority there on the metadata?
The correct information comes from the repository or from Crossref, for example.
I think, Leonida, the question is if they go to the repository and they make sure that everything is perfect, but when something enters the OpenAir pipeline, it is also the same record is found in Crossref. Is there a way that the metadata from the repository is prioritized so that when you clean the record, this is what shows up in the merged record somehow?
Currently, we don't have the repositories, not only for Ireland, but in general, as a priority for the types of the publication, because it is not, especially for this example of, for example, it's not easy to differentiate on which one is the right type. We can do it with maybe with a custom meeting if we get reassured by a repository that these are the correct types. In any case, in the deduplicated version in OpenAir Explore, you will see all the versions of the research product, where we aggregated from, and what type it is stated in its data source.
Okay.
We have
Right.
other
So I
questions
think,
too.
yes. Well, I think the Sined's question is, I'm sorry if I mispronounce the name, but it's really good, because the idea, if we're going to make the effort to do it, is it going to be the only one that is shown? And the answer is no. But the correct metadata will be there as well. So if something will be shown as an article, but also something else, I don't know what else, the correct one will be there as well. Now, the problem is that usually the metadata is too dirty and incomplete to even calculate the most basic of indicators. I think it would be an improvement in any case. In terms of having an authoritative source for a particular organization coming, you can come and tell us, look, we have it perfect in the repository, just show only that. It's not our modus operandi, but I think if there is such a case, it can be discussed somehow, but it's not what we do now. Okay, let's go to Kevin. I'm going to add a link for you. And then, is it safe to say some data from repositories is given a priority? Well, it's a bit, the question is a bit too general in the sense of which metadata elements are we talking about? Because there are some that Harris knows very well. For example, funding information. It is very problematic from Crossref, so we don't use it, right? So I think it depends. It is safe to say, but depending on the metadata element. So harvesting Crossref doesn't mean that we're including every single thing. Harry, yes?
Yes, no, we include it when we don't have another option, but when we have agreements with the RFOs directly and we have their project data, then we always give priority to that. That's for sure, because we have and in some cases we have been asked, for example, not to include from Crossref when we found a lot of mistakes there, and for some funders that is the case. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Oh, hi, Niv. I sent you the link for your questions. Also, can you provide us with an update on the organization as a search filter? Trying to filter research products by organization, and the list of organization does not seem to be standardized. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, so so I mean, you can go in and take a look at it yourself. You know, when you go into the advanced search on research products, so the research products thing is really interesting. But obviously, what we're going to want to do, so this is not under research performing organizations. It's just going back to what you showed us there, Joanna, which is the research products. And when you go into the research,
Okay.
see all the products, you do an advanced search. And you get to filter by organization, which is an obvious thing to do. So I'm interested in seeing, I want to see all of the, these research products for Trinity College Dublin for my organization. I think a lot of people would like.
Okay, we have it here. We don't have it there because no one asked for it so far.
Okay.
But we can discuss adding it. But
Yeah.
instead, you can go to the RPO and then look at all the research products here directly.
And so that's the way to do it. Okay, fine. And
Yes, sorry I didn't cover it in the demo.
No problem at all. That's grand. The other quick question I was going to ask you, Joanna, is I was wondering, with all those lovely visualizations you have up front, there's a really renewed focus on institutional repositories. We have a big national project around this and so on. So under the NORF, and it would be really nice to see the kind of value of the repositories there. Is that there anywhere? No.
I added the link already on the chat.
Sorry, I missed that.
So
Yeah.
please take a look there and let me know if that's what you had in mind.
Yes, we are also going to have developments on with this initiative in the beginning of next year and the next webinars that we are going to give.
Yes, so from the National Repository Project, so someone will come hopefully to talk to us about all of that and how it fits in the monitor. Okay, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to keep going. So before we actually continue, let me ask. We're going to talk about OpenOrgs now. Is there anyone that is a primary dashboard manager and is planning to do live deduplication with OpenOrgs during the session? If you are, you can please raise your hands right now.
Just like to see what's involved, Joanna.
Okay, so then Leonidas will start first. Leonidas, please, sorry, but try to keep it like 5-6 minutes if you can.
Yes. Okay.
Leonida, let me show my slides first. Do you want, do you want to do the demo directly? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So you tell us.
So yes, regarding the OpenOrgs platform, we have already given 2 OpenOrgs sprints during last year, where several dashboard managers from the Irish RPOs attended, and we have also performed curation for the Irish research performing organizations. So what does OpenOrgs do in a nutshell? It disambiguates the organizations at the level of disambiguation of the duplicate names that the organization share at the metadata that we aggregate from the different data sources in OpenOrgs, and also to the curation of when creating parent-child relationships among the RPOs, such as departments, faculties, and even in the case of Ireland, where I will showcase you a few examples in institutions merging that happened during the previous year. So, in order to become a curator in OpenOrgs for your RPO, of course, you have to be a dashboard manager. You should register for an OpenAir account, and then you can request to become a curator via the OpenOrgs website, And then the OpenOrgs team will process your request and as you already are a dashboard manager for an RPO, will provide you access in order to become a creator for your RPO in OpenOrgs platform. And you will be able to create information on the level of duplicates of the institutions and on parent-child relationships. So let me share my screen to give you a quick.
And before you share your screen, you can tell us a little bit what parent-child relationship is.
Yes. The parent-child relationship is about stating any department or faculties inside your organization exists and has been aggregated into exists in the metadata that we aggregated from the various data sources in OpenAir, and you want to state it that, for example, let me go to show you an example of the National University of Ireland, the Maynooth, which does not have. For example, the IGAS, the Irish Agriculture and Food Development Authority, has been stated as a child of the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine. And these are relations that you can put it in OpenOrgs platform, and the dashboard of the parent organization will incorporate all the research products from all the child organizations. So let's go through a record, briefly through a record of an RPO, of a research performed organization in OpenOrgs. Let's say that we have, for example, work with on Trinity College Dublin. First of all, after you sign in the OpenOrgs platform, you will get the first screen. You can search for your organization by name. You will get several records and results even for the deduplicated or the parent-child relationship records. It is pretty straightforward to identify the main record of your organization. It's this one. And the most easiest thing to identify the organization is at the DUPS column, where they stated all the duplicates that have been curated. And usually the organization that has the most curated duplicates is the one that is the main record for the RPO. In the first tab for the metadata management, there are some information such as the acronyms that have been found for this organization, aliases, identifiers from well-known registries that exist globally of organization identifiers such as ROR, FUNDREF, OGREF, ISNI, and others. Of course, URLs, and at the last part are the relations part, where you can see all the parent-child relationships that have been stated for this organization. For the Irish RPOs, we have already performed a curation also for not only for the duplicates, but also for the parent-child relationship. And ourselves, based on the survey, on the initial survey, when we started building the Irish monitor, that have been answered by the RPOs. And of course, the dashboard managers that have attended. the sprints that we had given in the during the previous year. We've also performed some curation on duplicates and parent-child relationships. So here you will see several records with with child organizations for Trinity College Dublin. From faculty, schools, you will also see records of hospitals and, for example, the ADAPT Center for Digital Content Technology, which is showcases as a child organization for Trinity College Dublin, and I think also for another RPO. And this has been curated this way, as it is something that we got it from the answers of the survey that the RPOs have answered in the beginning of the project. So in the next tab, we have the duplicates information, where the OpenOrgs platform, when we have the workflow in OpenOrgs Graph and we aggregate metadata records, we have an algorithm that identifies the potential duplicates for each RPO. And when a potential duplicate is identified, it has been listed here with the question mark. And the curators are responsible to decide if it is indeed a duplicate of the organization or it's not a duplicate. But, for example, it might have a name, that the same name from organization from another country. There is also the conflicts tab, where we may find conflicts from organizations that exist will duplicate records that have been already deduplicated in OpenOrgs, and it might be the same organization. And of course, note, where someone can put some notes to remember for the organization, and the history, where you can see all the curation that has been performed for the specific RPO, for the respective RPO. And of course, we also have in the Iris Monitor platform, under resources and help on web statistics and activity logs. Apart from the web statistic and the monitor logs, we have also the OpenOrgs logs on monthly basis, where you can download and see all the curations that have been performed in OpenOrgs for the Iris RPOs. So thank you very much. I don't know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Leonida. Perhaps you can tell us what we do if the organization, someone's organization, is not shown in the RPO.
If an organization is not shown as an RPO, you get in contact with us to see, first of all, if it exists as an RPO in OpenOrgs Graph. If it exists, we will make sure that it will be incorporated. If it does not exist, that might not have an error identifier, or generally an identifier, an organizational identifier, such as a role or ISNI. And the process here is to initiate a role identifier at the role website through the role request forms. And when you receive this role ID that has been assigned to you, to your RPO, you get in touch with us, and we will process this information and incorporate the organization into the OpenOrgs Graph.
Okay, thank you. Niamh?
Yes, thank you. I'm just not sure about my login. When I get into the page, I can see the OpenOrgs, but I don't see an opportunity to request to be a curator of this, and I'm not seeing the same screens that Leonidas showed us. So I can see the organizations, but I don't think that I can curate them. Should there be a link someplace?
Okay. Are you a primary dashboard manager for a certain organization?
Yes, for Trinity College Dublin.
Okay, from Trinity College Dublin. Dublin. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let's put a pin on this question and come back to it. Are there any
Okay.
general questions about how OpenOrgs works? Okay, so whoever would like to stay, we're going to solve Nive's problem live or
Yes.
try to figure it out.
Before that, I want to mention something to everybody regarding the APCs metrics that we have in the Irish monitor. Currently, if you go through the platform, you will see that we have information regarding the APCs on two levels. One is the level where we calculate the APCs.
So do you want to share your screen?
Yes,
Are you looking at something?
I'm just trying to do it right now. In the APCs section, we have the APCs that has been reported to OpenAPC because we get information regarding the APC from OpenAPC. In the first tab, we have the APCs that has been reported to OpenAPC by any co-author, by the institution of any of the co-authors of a publication. And in the last tab, we have the APCs that has been reported to OpenAPC by the institution itself. And this information will showcase the actual paid amount from the institution for the respective publication. Because the first tab, it showcases also publications that may have been funded by another organization, funder or institution, but not the same institution. That's why it would be great if you put the APCs information in OpenAPC so that we can aggregate it and show you also information about the APCs that have been reported by your institution. And I'm just saying this because there are a lot of institutions that do not provide this information in OpenAPC.
Jenny, I'm getting the answer to your question now. I'm talking to the team. If you can give me a second, and I'll write it here. I would like to thank everyone for attending. We're going to continue with helping Niva out, seeing what the issue is here. If anyone else has any issues or they'd like to see, please stay. And Jenny, please stay as well so I get that answer for you. Otherwise, if you choose to leave the webinar, thank you so much for attending. And we're really excited to see you in the next session.